Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is cold out. I have a fresh cup of coffee and a list of seeds to share with you that I will not be growing in 2023 and one that I'm bringing back. And the first thing on my list is kale. We never use it. I always plant it and we never use it. I always want to use it. I plan to use it. It just doesn't happen. Every spring I grow a collection of leafy greens, mostly to fill in space at the back of my main garden, which starts to get shady by about 2 p.m. and then it moves across to the rest of the garden. So I usually plant those first couple of feet or so with leafy greens like kale and chard and spinach, but the kale is the one thing that never gets touched. The second one is also a vegetable, and this one is turnips. I know people love turnips and rutabagas, but I've just never really loved the taste, and the kids don't either. I've only tried a few varieties over the last couple of years, but I also only grow about a half a dozen seeds at a time because when we do grow them, we don't use very much. So I have decided that I will not be growing turnips and rutabagas this year. We do love carrots and beets, and we tend to eat a lot of radishes in the spring and fall when they grow best as well, but we don't have unlimited space. So turnips are out. The next one is from my cut flower list, and I'm already second guessing myself a little bit, but number 3 is Bachelors Buttons. Maybe as a decorative annual, I could sprinkle a couple of plants around in the borders just to take up some space where I would normally plant annuals, but I really don't want to take up valuable space in the market garden or the cut flower garden for Bachelors Buttons. I have grown them for the last few years, and what I found is, because they're a bit of a pain to harvest, I mean, they're not too bad, but I found that I was only cutting them when I was in desperate need for fillers, when I didn't have a whole lot in the rest of the garden. And then once I did, I just was not using them. Having a few of them, I think, in the border is going to be really nice because they'll be there if I want them, and if I am in desperate need of flowers, I can get some from there. But hopefully with better planning, I will not be in that position this year. So I'm not going to devote a lot of time and energy to growing Bachelors Buttons this year. Number 4, this one is a little bit more on the decorative side, but these are the fancy decorative pumpkins. You just forget how much space pumpkins take up, and I don't have unlimited space here. I don't live on a farm. We have a small market garden. And as much as I would love to grow some interesting decorative pumpkin varieties, we just don't have the space, and there's a lot of other things that I would rather grow instead. So I'm going to bump that off of my plan for 2023. If we have more space in the future, I'm going to rethink that one because that is something I really want to grow, but definitely not this coming year. Number 5, Indian Summer Rebecca. And I know this one is going to be controversial because a lot of growers love this variety. The flowers are big, but for me, they're just a little too big. They're so big, they're a little hard to fit into bouquets. The petals are a bit floppy. They tend to bend in the wind, and then they tend to get squished in bouquets as well. And because there are so few petals, any little bit of damage from bugs or otherwise is really obvious. In bouquets, I found smaller varieties like cherry brandy is a really good one, and even the wild variety that I grow in my garden that has the smaller sprays of flowers, I just found those so much easier to work into bouquets. My absolute favorite though had to be the Sahara Rebecca. There's a few different colors in this mix that I had, and fully double flowers, just gorgeous, really fancy looking. I liked working with those in bouquets much more. And if you're looking for the really big flowers to add to the bouquets, especially in late summer, early fall, that look, right, that sunflower look, well, that's what sunflowers are for. I find them so much nicer, they're sturdier, and people recognize those as sunflowers too. Those big giant Rebecca's, they just don't do it for me. So I'll be planting cherry brandy, I'll be planting a lot of Sahara, but I will not be planting Indian Summer Rebecca in 2023. And the last one I want to talk about is something that I bumped last year, something I did not grow this past year, and I actually missed it. I regretted not growing it. And that is Plaza Latina tomatillos. So tomatillos are not tomatoes. They have similar growing requirements. They tend to branch a lot, so one plant can easily get, in my garden I've seen it, 3 feet or so by 4 feet tall. The fruits grow in these little papery husks, similar to ground cherries if you've ever grown those, but they get much bigger to the point where they actually bust open the husk, and that's how you know that they're ready to pick. They're pretty prolific once they get going. We make a couple of big batches of salsa off of about 4 to 5 plants when we did grow them, and not having tomatillo salsa makes me a little bit sad this year. So I'm making sure I have some seed and we'll be growing those this coming year for sure. So as of now, that is my list of what I will not be growing in 2023 and one that I will. So I hope that by making this video, I will stick to that plan and not get carried away and overexcited and grow them anyway, because that sounds like something I would do. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button as well, and I will see you next time.